Yo, I've been I've been doing the show without hitting live button. Can you guys friggin' believe that? I've literally been talking to myself for how long? For 20 minutes. Holy crap. Welcome aboard. That's frustrating, but we're going to start at the top of my notes. Welcome in Jason P, Robin Miner, Cindy G, Jane Aldridge, Kristen Melinda. What's going on, guys? Anderson's Danish. I swear I was talking to every single one of you. Caitlin, Robin Miners. I can't believe I did that. It's been a while since I've done that. How irritating. Katrina Schaff, good morning. No wonder no one was responding to what I was saying. Holy crap, dude. Sorry about all the craps in the morning. Mocked, what's going on? Good morning. It's Saturday, baby. I feel really good, although I did just waste 20 minutes of my life. Maybe more like 15, but still, whatever. I'm just warming up. Just warming up. We're going to talk about trauma today, guys. Trauma talk. Trauma is, back to the top of my notes. Trauma is an emotional response to distressing events that overwhelm your ability to cope. Now, I think this is the key part. I'm just going to jump into it, guys. We're going to hang out here in a second. I got to get to a place where I feel good again, where I feel accomplished. Christian B, what's going on? Marie Duffy, hello, hello. Trauma is an emotional response to distressing events that overwhelm your ability to cope. That is the key portion there. Overwhelm your ability to cope, right? So let's say, some adverse event happens when I'm well equipped. Some adverse event happens when I'm not well equipped, right? These are two different situations. Maybe I get off work, I'm exhausted, I'm hungry, right? That's a unique position to deal with trauma, as opposed to I just woke up, I've had my breakfast, I'm feeling good, I'm smiling, those are two very, very different situations, right? I'm probably much better equipped to deal with trauma and cope with stressors when I have nutrients and sleep rather than when I'm exhausted and I need food, right? I think that those are two unique positions. And there's a billion, you could be in any position, right? But just know that trauma happens when our ability to cope is overwhelmed, right? I think that's just an important bit that I thought it was important to punctuate. You know what I mean? So processing trauma effectively is a complex but empowering journey that involves understanding, addressing, and healing the emotional, psychological, and physical effects of traumatic experiences. I tried to put together a comprehensive guide for you guys. Casey, what's going on? Shouldn't you wait for this talk until after you try that smelly stuff with your dad and your uncle? I also spent a bunch of time this morning talking to myself about this because I forgot to hit the live button. Yeah, I guess we're going to eat some fish later today. And, I think it's funny, you know, um, it brings such joy to my dad and to my uncle, this stanky fish. And I don't really understand. But they're so happy and excited every time. They've done this like 3 or 4 times now. And, I don't really get it. I don't understand. It doesn't make me excited. But it does make them excited. And, you think they're just as excited today as they were the first time that they did this thing. So I think I'm gonna do it. I bet you I eat it better than they do. Um, I don't think that I'm going to enjoy it, and I think something else about the fish before we get back into trauma. Something else about the fish that I think is funny is that I was talking. My dad called me this morning. I was still in bed, kind of getting up, and he started talking about the fish, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And he said, Spanx, you don't have to do this. If I don't ever want to force you to do anything you really don't want to do. And I think that that's really funny that he said that to me because until that moment, it's been you're going to do this. You don't have a choice. You're going to eat this, and that's been the narrative. And he says it with a smile. I can't really tell if he's joking or serious, right? So it's still kind of unclear to me whether or not I do have a choice on eating the fish. I don't think it really matters, though. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it better than they do, and that's that. But it has been an interesting journey up to the surstroming for sure. I don't understand why they enjoy it. 1 + 1 = 2. Surstroming plus YouTube equals vomit, right? I don't understand. The math doesn't add up to me. But we're gonna do it, I guess. Of course I have a choice, Casey. Of course I have a choice. But they dress it up like an illusion of a choice until the day of. You know what I mean? Everyone would be so disappointed. When I say everyone, I mean the two of them if I didn't eat it. My nose, from all of the illicit substances that I've put inside of it, doesn't smell very good anymore. So praise the Lord for that, you know? Maybe after I do it, I'll understand their joy, says Cindy. I hope so. Arabian Bard, good to see you. I don't know what time. I'm supposed to call my dad right after this and figure it out. It's hard to schedule things because all three of us have shows to do. All three of us also have things to do. And I think all three of us get sucked into YouTube rabbit holes pretty regularly too. So scheduling things is always kind of a from the hip kind of thing with us. If we weren't good on the fly, we wouldn't be good at anything. That's definitely the Scoville thing. We're good from the hip on the fly, but yeah, if we didn't have that, I don't know what we would have. Smelly fish and blowing chunks. I hope not, but it certainly seems to be that way. Let's talk about some trauma though, guys. That'll be for later, huh? Morning, Mexican restaurant. Good to see you. One of those acquired taste things. I don't know. I was looking up, like I was researching surstroming, and there was questions if it had health benefits. The answers are inconclusive, and most likely it doesn't have health benefits. I mean, it came into existence because it was the only way to preserve fish in Scandinavia way back in the day so that they could have protein during the winter. So like it's a creation out of necessity, not out of like it's not a pleasure thing. It's not like we can make this really tasty fish. That's not what it's about. It's about preservation, right? It's like a last ditch resort. This is the only way we're going to have protein in the winter. I bet you if I was starving and I didn't have protein for like a month or something, I bet you that fish would be delicious. Just my thoughts, right? Have you ever been like absolutely dehydrated? You're out in the desert, you need water real bad. You finally find some, and it's the best water you've ever tasted just because you literally are dying. I think that's probably what the surstroming's all about too. What's going on, Scoob? Good to see you. Blowing chunks is trauma. That's right. I had food poisoning last week, so I know. Oh no, Brenda, that's terrible. Well, I'm glad it was last week and not now, huh? Praise be to what's in the past. The tradition and the camaraderie for sure, Jane. You're definitely right on that. And I don't think that if my dad and Uncle Johnny weren't so excited about it, I would have no interest. That's the sole interest, is it makes them happy. I'm going to get some happiness out of just hanging out with them. For sure. I wish we didn't have to eat fish to hang out. I guess we don't, but this time we do. Oh my gosh. I feel a little bodily weird today. Maybe it's because I traded coffee for Rockstar. I haven't done that in a while. Incognito at unknown. Hello, hello. Is the stanky fish eating a male bonding thing or a Zen like get back in the moment thing? I think it's a male bonding thing, but you're asking the wrong guy. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm going to, though. I tell you what, Incognito, when we go ahead and eat the fish today, I'm going to go ahead and ask that question. Hey, someone in my live this morning asked, is this a male bonding thing? Your thoughts, and I'll, hold the mic up to Uncle Johnny or something and see what he has to say about it. I bet you fried blood sausage is fantastic. That just sounds great, Mocked. I've never had it. And I'm not 100% certain on what blood sausage is, but blood sausage, that just sounds delicious. Matrix Rabbit, what's going on, yo? Good to see you. Jimmy Pickles, yo, yo. Hope everything's well out there, Jimmy. Good to see you, man. Have to ask mid-chew. I don't know if I'm going to be capable of words mid-chew. Oh, well, thanks for saying that, Incognito. It makes me feel good. I tell you what. All right, we're talking about trauma. We're having a trauma talk, right? We're acknowledging our trauma. We're acknowledging the impact it's having on our life, and we're validating these feelings. These feelings are real, regardless of how people may feel about it or regardless of what people may tell us about it. Dale Cox, good morning, good sir. Glad to see you. We've created a safe environment to process through these things, right? We have people around us that understand or that we trust, supportive, non judgmental people, right? Am I shivering? What is going on here, guys? And then, you guessed it, we're going to practice self compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and patience. Avoid self criticism for how you feel or respond, especially in response to trauma, right? We're probably, not super proud of the way we're feeling and, et cetera, et cetera. But it's okay. Trauma isn't supposed to make you feel good, right? Don't criticize yourself. Just accept and move through. Seek professional help. We talked about that. I don't want to spend too much time on that. We talked about cognitive behavioral therapy. I've also written down eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EDEMDR. This facilitates processing traumatic memories through guided eye movements. Now, this is in the seek professional help section, right? So this is not something you can do alone, right? For CBT, for EMDR, I also have TFCBT, trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, right? All of these are methods that you would employ with a professional, right? Whether it be a trauma-focused therapist, I don't know. There's probably a lot of different people that you can talk to, and Kristen and Belinda might be more versed on the kind of professionals that you would look at. Me and my dad both leaning on Kristen. Look at that. But yeah, there's tons of professionals out there that this is their job, right? I would highly recommend, especially if you're dealing with trauma that you've been dealing with for a very long time, seek professional help. Maybe we can see an end to this trauma, right? Maybe we could just not live like this anymore. Imagine that. If that's the case, if all you had to do was go talk to a person, spend some time working through it with that person, and then life is better. Imagine that, right? Go ahead and do it. Do yourself that favor. At the bottom of this professional help section, I have group therapy, all right? Sharing experiences with others who have faced similar trauma. This cannot be understated, the power and impact of this. This is literally what we do on the boat every day, right? How many people here feel impacted by the experiences that they share with their friends on the boat? Like, I'll raise my hand immediately, right? I feel impacted by y'all's experiences daily. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Let's get some ones up for Matrix. And for anyone else out there that needs a little extra love today, all right? I haven't done that yet today. I forgot. Got totally thrown for a loop when I talked to myself for 20 minutes. Holy crap. Hey, Annika, what's going on? Thanks for sending your love. We love you right back. Kristen says, not all licensed therapists are trained in EMDR. For example, I was a licensed professional counselor for almost a decade before I got that training. You can ask if they are trained in it. Fantastic. Fantastic. I knew I could lean on you a little bit. Thank you for this. Life is a dreamin'. All right, now we're going to talk about stuff that's more in my wheelhouse, right? I'm not a licensed professional, but I like to meditate, right? I like to practice mindfulness and regulating my emotions. I like all these little hippie tricks and stuff. We're going to talk about that. Mindfulness techniques. We talk about this a lot. Meditation helps you stay present and reduce stress, right? We all know a ton about meditation. We all know it's difficult to do, especially for those with overactive minds, right? If we can allow ourselves to relax into a meditation, it's wildly beneficial, especially for those of us that have overactive brains. Deep breathing, getting oxygen into your body is wild. Oxygen's a drug, and it's a drug that we need to survive, right? I mean, technically it's not a drug, but if you take in more oxygen than you need, it kind of makes you feel a little fuzzy, right? It kind of makes you feel a little buzzed. And that's because oxygen is doing things to your body, right? Oxygen is changing chemically what's happening inside of you. And I only say this to say that deep breathing can calm your nervous system during moments of stress, right? Getting that extra oxygen can provide your body with what it needs to process through things. And that may sound corny. And a lot of the things that I say, I think do sound corny, but I tell you what, if you're struggling, take some deep breaths. You might not struggle so hard afterwards. Like, worst case scenario, you get a little embarrassed and it doesn't change anything. Okay, whatever, move on, right? Emotional regulation. Learn to name and manage emotions instead of suppressing or being overwhelmed by them, right? So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, instead of running away from that emotion, let's identify it, right? Okay, this is jealousy. Okay, this is fear. Okay, this is insert emotion name here. And instead of running away from it or suppressing it, like look it in the face, right? Hey, what's going on, man? I remember you, kind of thing. Write about these feelings can help organize your thoughts and release emotions. Has anyone, other than Brianna, because I know she has, but has anyone started journaling recently and experienced any changes in their emotions or their feelings? Had one journaling session experience where afterwards they like cried a bunch, or has anyone started journaling recently and just had some impactful experiences doing so? I'm curious. I take deep breaths with music and salty air. That sounds wonderful. That sounds quite peaceful. Things came up that I wasn't even aware of, says Linda. Isn't this an interesting concept? Linda says, I went through trauma therapy. They used CBT, DBT, and other things. It helped a lot. Things came up that I wasn't even aware of. Isn't that such a curious concept? We may have trauma that we're not even aware of. We might have trauma that's buried under some other emotion, some other trauma, some other memory, right? Maybe we've blocked it out. Whatever the case, it's possible that we have trauma that we're not aware of. That is mind blowing to me. And I mean, I know that this is true, right? But just the fact that that's true is mind blowing. Like I could maybe I'm just not aware of this trauma. That's pretty crazy, right? I mean, trauma is pretty powerful. It could stick with you for your whole life. You could go your whole life not being aware and just having your life impacted by trauma that you're not aware of. Interesting stuff. It looks like a lot of you have started journaling. That's really cool. Caitlin, I do this self-talk as well. I thoroughly enjoy using this to like walk myself through. Sometimes I got to hold myself by the hand, and just kind of walk myself through some fire. I don't necessarily journal, says Caitlin, but if there's something really bothering me, I talk about it to myself out loud. Hearing things helps me put it into perspective. I 100% agree with this. Sometimes this is perfect for the situation too, right? If I just need to kind of like walk myself just a little bit, this is perfect. For like a deeper session, I think I would get itchy if I was trying to talk myself through something for an extended period of time. So in that case, I might journal it out. But I use this method a ton, though, Caitlin. A ton. Matrix says I found both my journals. So yes, I have been jotting things down. One journal for directed writing on subjects, and another journal for free writing. Stories, song ideas, and what's how journal. Interesting. Heck yeah, Matrix. I'm so glad to hear this. Christian B says, definitely had a trauma panic attack at work once over something I wasn't aware of. Pardon me, I wasn't aware it was a trigger. It was a horrible day. Well, I had you. Wow, I got some burps today. At least, Christian, that you now are aware of that trigger, right? Which I think is a sweet takeaway. We could have definitely come out worse, right? We could have come out of this experience not even knowing what had happened. Cookie asks, hello, Cookie, by the way. How do you get someone help that is dealing with trauma but is an active addiction? Well, that is a tricky one. Um, the thing with addiction is like I can show you the door. Like let's hypothetically you're the addict, right? You have to walk through it, right? So that what that means is if this person isn't ready, um, we can't do anything, right? We can support, we can love them, we can and on the other end of the spectrum, like things that we don't want to do, we can like facilitate, right? Which we don't want to do. We don't want to, what's the right word? Empower? No. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they have to be ready. And if they're not ready, there's no point in working through the trauma. because they're not going to work through it properly. Um, Again, the question is, how do you get someone help that is dealing with trauma but is an active addiction? Do they want to not be an active addiction, Cookie? That's the first step. They have to want to change their life. And if they don't want to change their life, we cannot help them. You know what I mean? Like, we can enabler, that's the word, Matrix. Thank you so much. I knew someone was going to, we can enable them, right? Which is not what we want to do, right? If we're going to try and help when they're not ready, it's going to end up being enabling one way or another. Um, because when we say not in our right mind, what that's referring to is when I'm in active addiction, I'm not driving the ship, right? The drugs are driving the ship. So that's not in my right mind. So justifies his drinking because of the trauma. Well, I mean, does he is he sick and tired of drinking? You know what I mean? Does he really enjoy the drinking? Is he done drinking? Is he not done drinking? That's the question, right? Um, One day, hopefully one day, he's not going to want to drink anymore. He's going to be sick and tired of that lifestyle, right? He doesn't want to wake up sick anymore, physically shaking, right? He doesn't want to feel like he's dying until he has a drink, right? When that happens, we can take action, right? When that happens, there's there's a path forward, but he literally has to find the bottom of that barrel. That's the only way. You can't save him. You know what I mean? He's got to save himself. And for me, I had to dig for a long time. And that's the unfortunate, terrifying part about addiction is I might have died trying to find the bottom. You know what I mean? I might not have made it to the bottom that I needed to get to get healthy. You know what I mean? Luckily, I did, but it doesn't work like that for everyone. I mean, you could also talk with him. That's another thing that you could do. You could try to talk about this stuff. It sounds like he doesn't want to talk about it. It sounds like he's burying pain with alcohol, right? Definitely seems you say he justifies the drinking because of his trauma, right? It definitely sounds like he's trying to pour a whole lot of alcohol on that hurt. And until he gets sick and tired of doing that, he's probably going to be doing that. But I mean, you can also just make sure he knows you love him, right? Make sure he knows that you care for him and that you're worried about him and that you want better for him. And if he ever says something to you like, I want better for me too, if he ever like says one of those hopeful statements, even if it's like even a hint, right? That's a good sign, right? Then we can kind of work with that. But I mean, really, the real work begins when he's ready. And that's not before, right? Matrix says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's right. There's an MC that died a while ago. What's his name? Idea, and his DJ Idea and abilities, DJ abilities. Idea passed away, I believe, from heroin overdose. MC being rapper. He's a rapper, a white rapper from Minnesota. Anyway, Idea has a song. It's a pretty depressing song. All of his music is very depressing. He was a very touched individual, but he's got a line where he says basically that you can lead a horse to water, but can't teach it to be okay when you decide to leave. And that line always hit me pretty hard. The way he says it in the song is filled with emotion. It kind of sounds like he's talking about himself. Good morning, Sharona. What's going on? I'm sorry to hear about all that, Cookie, by the way. Please keep us in the loop. I want to know what's going on with you guys. James Collins, what's going on? Krista Melinda also says, but my preference is an inpatient program that also provides trauma treatment at the same time as addiction treatment. This is ideal. I 100% agree with that. Wait a second. It comes with both? No, I mean, of course it does, right? But I think this is wonderful. I mean, if you can get the addiction treatment and the trauma treatment together, I mean, that's the whole package, right? They definitely go together. I'm gonna have to check this song out, guys. Got some daily anthems. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's what we can hope for, right? Krista Melinda says maybe eventually a seed will take root. That's definitely what we're hoping All right, all right. I'm not going to talk too much about mindfulness and emotional regulation. I think naming and managing the emotions instead of suppressing them is important, though, right? I think that concept of putting a name to the emotion that we're feeling overwhelmed by is really important because I didn't realize this until I realized this, but I realized at a certain point that I didn't even recognize what the emotions were. They were just overwhelming and I was running from them. And that was definitely served to make me ill equipped to handle them, right? I didn't even know what the heck they were. We definitely want to put a name to the emotions instead of just running. All right. I also have the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method in here. If you're feeling overwhelmed, count 5 things that you see, 4 that you feel, 3 that you, 5 you see, 4 you feel, 3 you smell, 2 you hear, 1 you taste, I believe. Something to that effect. Brings you into the present moment, right? Out of your head. Perfect. Russ Allen, what's going on? All right, so to process and reframe the trauma, we want to identify and confront the pain. Unfortunately, this is what we're going to do. Gently revisit the traumatic experience in a controlled, safe environment, like we just said, whether alone or with a therapist. We're going to challenge the negative beliefs, right? We're going to look them right in the face, eye to eye. Trauma often leaves lingering false beliefs. We're talking about those walls, right, that we've put up to defend ourselves that are now not serving us. They're keeping out good stuff now instead of bad stuff. Lingering false beliefs like I'm weak, or it was my fault, or I'm a bad person, right? These are all false beliefs. Replace these with more realistic and compassionate truths. They say in order to break a habit, you have to replace it with a habit, right? You replace a bad habit with a good habit. This kind of seems like the method here. Shift ourselves from seeing myself as a victim to recognizing my resilience and survival, right? I may feel like a victim right now, but I made it 32 years under subpar circumstances. I think I'm a survivor. I think that I've got some resilience. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here, right? So I think those are two sides of the same coin, right? I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. Two very different things, but I think they're one of them's a tail and one of them's a head, right? On a coin. Daryl Sanders, I understand this is an addiction recovery channel. Captain, am I welcome here? If my addiction is, I don't think so, dude. Wow. These guys got jokes. It's funny. If I don't react, he goes and makes another account. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll go make another one and do it again. This song. I recently pulled up Spotify today. I stopped paying for it because they piss me off because they make me mad. And so I haven't listened to any of these playlists in forever. I've cultivated the most massive playlists on Spotify just to turn around and stop paying for the subscription, right? Anyways, so I'm listening to a bunch of music I haven't heard in forever this morning, and it's very nice. It's very nice. I'm listening to Demon Hunter right now, which is a Christian metal band that does a ton of singing. Not a whole lot of screaming and growling going on. Just a nice, pretty sounds most of the time. Kristen Melinda says, I hate when people poke fun at sexual behavior addictions. It's real and it ruins lives just as much as any other addiction. I agree. It really irks me. But I tell you what, given the guy attention, makes him happy, right? And I think it brings him back. So I try not to. It's hard to not react when I get halfway through this reading the guy's message. You know what I mean? So things to work on. Things to work on. I bet if I had had my coffee this morning, that would have gone differently. I've also put the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method in the community section. I did not clean that out like I said I would. I only kind of cleaned it out, so I'll clean it up a little bit more so it's easier to find. No, don't zip it. You're good. I love your input, Kristen. process and reframe the trauma, right? Gently revisit this traumatic experience. We just talked about this. Challenge negative beliefs, rewrite your narrative. Shift from seeing yourself as a victim to recognizing your resilience and your survival, right? We're survivors. We're resilient. We're not victims. Focus on the body. Trauma often manifests physically. So incorporating somatic practices, somatic meaning the body, can help release stored tension. Yoga and movement, massage, or body work, breathing exercises. These are all great examples, right? And this is not the limit. This isn't the list. There's a billion things that you can do. But basically, what we're saying here is physical activity is going to be wildly effective, especially because trauma manifests physically, right? Um, you could have a bum leg because there's dark emotions harbored in your heart. Like, I'm not even joking. Serious. Your trauma and your emotions can manifest in such powerfully physical ways. It's a little mind blowing. Hey, Spanx, check out a band called Chat Pile. I just kind of found out about them. Pretty awesome. I will do. Rexham Restaurant, absolutely. Putting them on my list right now. Whenever I get sweet suggestions from boaters, I have a list of books, bands, all kinds of stuff. Fun quotes. Chat Pile. Building healthy coping mechanisms. We did a whole show on this the other day, so I will just skim. We'll just cursory go through this. We want to set effective boundaries, right? Protect our energy. And if you're not into the hippy dippy stuff, we can replace the word energy with space, time, yourself. Protect yourself. Protect your time. Protect yourself, right? Energy is really the proper word here, but protect your energy and time by saying no to other things or people that trigger or overwhelm you, right? I'm a people pleaser. I like to say yes to things, but I often will say yes to stuff and then realize I've double booked or realize I actually don't have the energy to do that now or the emotional capacity to go through with what I said I would do. My integrity then suffers, right? So when we say protect your energy, realize what you've got to give and what you need before you can give again, right? Realize what you've got in the tank and how far that's going to take you, right? You don't want to pull an Amelia Earhart and run out of gas trying to cross the entire Pacific, which I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't take jabs at Amelia because she really did everything she possibly could. And I think that's a tragedy that could have gone a different way. Amelia could have made it. She almost did. That escalated quickly, I know, right? I was watching videos about Amelia Earhart this morning. I like to learn stuff. So often when I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching historical stuff instead of like smut, but either way, engaging creative outlets. Art, music, writing can be therapeutic ways to process emotions, right? Develop support systems. Come to the boat. Lean on friends, family, or support groups who understand and validate your healing journey, right? If someone's not validating my healing journey, right, they're doing the opposite of that, telling me, why don't I rub some dirt in it? I don't need them in my space, right? Especially not while I'm healing this. Like if while I'm going through this healing process, that person can hit the road. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no. Just like that. Just like that guy. The guy can hit the road, Jack, and don't come back. Recognize and address triggers. How much? Oh my. We might not finish today, guys. Holy crap. There's a lot of stuff here. Identify triggers. Understand what sights, sounds, or situations provoke traumatic behaviors, traumatic memories. Develop coping strategies. Use tools like grounding exercises, breathing, or affirmations when confronted with triggers, right? So what this is saying is when we feel triggered, when we see, stuff kind of going south, when the poop is entering the fan, let's fall back on our big guns, right? Our journal. Let's fall back on grounding exercises, on breathing. Let's fall back on the stuff that we always fall back on, right? It's basically saying don't forget your toolkit. No matter what's going on, we can identify what's happening and we can bust our toolkit out. And over time, we will desensitize, right? Gradual exposure to less intense triggers can help build resilience, right? Just the act of working through this is going to make you better at working through this, right? Whatever this is, whatever your trauma is, whatever your experience is, if we just, even if we're feeling super duper overwhelmed, if we just attempt to identify what's triggering us, identify the trauma, put a name to that emotion, right? Or that feeling or that trauma, like give it a name, right? Identify it, look it right in the face, know it, and process through it. If we even just attempt to do so, not even seeing it all the way through, we're going to get better at doing it, right? We're going to have more success the next time we do it. There's no time like the present. Go out there and take control of your trauma, right? Wring its little neck. No, don't do that. Don't Homer Simpson the trauma, but I don't know, maybe that's what you do. Go ahead. See what happens. Jason P, love to TLB and all of the amazing crew members who truly care about one another. Love you all. Thanks, Jason. You are the man. And your never-ending support just melts me, dude. Linda Bennett says, thank you for helping me through my healing journey. You all have given me a life vest. I've been working on self-care, getting out of depression and harm reduction. It's working. Let's go, dude. Oh, I need to not have that camera there. I'm going to destroy it. I don't know which camera is mine and which one's my dad's. I think the one with less scratches on the lens is mine. What do you guys think? Linda, I'm so glad that it's working. I'm so glad that you found us and that us are helping you. You know what I mean? That's music to my ears. That's the kind of stuff right there. That's that stuff. That good stuff. Be patient with yourself, right? This is a non-linear road, right? Your progress is most likely also not going to be linear, right? Meaning not a straight path. Healing is not a straight path. There may be setbacks. This is not a race progress, though, right? If we stumble and fall, that doesn't put us at square one. That just puts us on our knees at the square we were just on. You know what I mean? All we got to do is stand back up, and we're right where we were. I think that this counting days thing is really useful for like remembering how far I've come, but also it's like a double-edged sword because if I fall, then I feel like I've wasted all that time. That part is wrong, right? We didn't waste any time. All this time we spent recovering, we've built resilience, we've learned about ourselves, right? We've probably made progress with our trauma. Just because we relapse, right? Just because we stumble and fall off the wagon does not erase our progress. Don't ever forget that, right? This is a common misconception. This is something that is that is practiced in a lot of recovery communities. In fact, I would have to say in most recovery communities, if you relapse, you got to start recounting days, right? Like that's how it works. I think that that practice is abysmal. I think that that serves to drive addicts deeper into their trauma. Look, whatever time you spend working on recovery, recovering, thinking about recovering, whatever time you spend like trying to better yourself is never wasted. And to think that if I were to fall and scrape my knee, that like all of a sudden I got to learn how to walk again, that's ridiculous, right? We would have grown men crawling around the streets of every city. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. I know that was kind of a stretch of a metaphor, but I liked it. So regardless of what happens, keep your chin up. You're worth it. All right. That's what I'm trying to say. Non-linear progress. Celebrate your small wins. Maintain realistic expectations, right? I'm not going to move mountain and I'm not going to move heaven and earth. You know what I mean? I'm going to baby step into a better life, you know, and that gradual progress, eventually one day you're going to be down the line. You're going to be like, hold on a second. I woke up smiling today. How long has that been happening? Right. You're going to gradually come into a place where you're like way better. Right. And that's the whole point. And we're going to stumble and fall. All right. It's okay. Integrate healing into your daily life. This is wonderful. This is probably my favorite section here, right? In my daily life, I heal every day, right? I practice gratitude. I've developed a routine. I'm constantly developing my routine, actually, and I'm focused on self-care, right? Food, nutrition, exercise, hygiene, what have you. Keeping the crib clean so that my brain feels good, right? So that my body feels good. Integrate healing into your daily life, folks. Focus on the positives in your life to foster hope and resilience, right? Don't ignore the negatives, but don't focus on them, right? Let's focus on positives. Let's stability in my daily life can create a sense of safety and predictability. Hey, I know what to expect today. That's nice. Dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches. Hello, hello. Welcome aboard. My cousin went to rehab for the fourth, now in PHP, then going to IOP. We've helped support him each time, but he relapses at 18 to 24 months. What else can we do to support him so he can get past 24 months? I think that at this point, dreaming of blue skies, the important part is like what, hold on, let me think. What angle to come at this from. So it sounds like he's having a modicum of success, right? But that success has hit a wall, right? That we can't get past this amount of time. There is most likely trauma that needs to be dealt with, right? There's most likely maybe even trauma that this person's not aware of, right? Dreaming. It could be stuff that this person's not even aware that they've got. But I mean, how close are you with your cousin, Dreaming? Do you guys talk about this kind of stuff? Do you guys talk about vulnerable inner feelings and whatnot? Yeah, he gets a job, does well, and then relapses. That sounds so familiar. That sounds just like me. I tell you what, that sounds just like me. Packer girl, what's going on? Yes, very close. Cool. Well, the next time you guys have some time between like just the two of you or whatever, and it feels like a good time to talk about some stuff, ask them. And this is going to get really heavy. Maybe this isn't something you feel comfortable doing, but I'm just going to lay it out, right? I would ask them like why they started using in the first place, right? Both his parents passed, sadly, car accident and cancer. Okay, well, that kind of answers the question. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. In order to succeed, a number of things have to happen. It sounds like he wants to live better, but he's just running into obstacles, right? He's having a hard time just like keeping to it, right? So there's most likely some trauma existing. And I mean, hearing his story or their story, it makes a lot of sense, right? That's some traumatic stuff. Um, but there's a reason that they keep running into that wall, right? And and it's perspective based, right? And I'm trying to like get inside their head, which sometimes isn't necessarily the right thing to do, but um now it's gone. Thank you for your patience. He or she, okay, in order to succeed in recovery personally for me, I need to value myself, right? I have to hold myself in a high enough esteem to like care enough, right? If I don't value myself, I'm not going to go out of my way to save myself, right? I'm just going to die. I'm just going to slowly waste away, right? So I have to like care enough about me to do all these things, right? To go to the ends of the earth to, and maybe that's the wrong way to say it because we don't want to intimidate people, but like I have to value myself enough to want to heal, right? Because then after I have that value in myself, then I go out and do this hard work, right? When trauma rears up and I'm feeling terrible, I look it right in the face instead of walking away, right? Which is hard. That's not fun stuff to do, but it's how we heal, right? So if it sounds like in moments of weakness or in moments of a special stimulus or in especially triggering moments, maybe 18, 24 months down the line, right? He's struggling, right? He or she is falling down. And I would have to say that and again, this is all perspective and this is all like based on the individual. So I might not know what he's going through, but I think that the value, like what he's fighting for, is a better life, right? Is to not live like this anymore. And when he's fallen down, that value is dropping, maybe momentarily, right? It's like, well, screw it. We all have those moments, those F it moments, right? It's most likely something like that. And it could be anything. But in order to be resilient enough to get through all of these moments, um, And I mean, maybe what I'm saying doesn't even matter. It's so it back to your original question, what can you do to support him more? I mean, if you're already in open communication with them, you're already, checking on them and, loving them and supporting them, you're doing literally everything you can. I mean, you could talk with them about specific parts of this, right? You could talk about the parents. You could suggest maybe like like talking to a therapist or something, because I think that would be mad beneficial. Um, but you're pretty much doing everything that you can. They're either going to figure it out or they're not. And that's the hard truth. I spent a lot of words trying to give you this answer, and I apologize. The real answer is you're really doing everything you can. You can suggest professional help of different sorts, right? Mock says grief counseling. We were talking earlier about CBT and DBT and all this stuff. And it sounds like he's getting professional help of some sort. Um, and yeah, it's a marathon too, right? It's not a race. He might not get it this time, but maybe they do. Maybe they get it next time, right? Anyways, I wish I had a better answer. That's probably why it took me so long, because I wanted to give you the hope in the success, but all I have is reality. 25 years, Jason P, you madman. That's so wonderful. I'm so happy for you, dude. I'm so proud of you. That's wild. 25 years. 25 years. That's the majority of the time I've been on this planet, Mr. P. Mr. P. Thanks for listening to me struggle with that. Flick Fox wasn't even here to see me struggling. Oh, wait, yeah, she was. There she is. What's going on, Flick? I haven't said hello to you today. I hope your morning is wonderful. All right, all right, all right. Redefine yourself. Trauma is a part of your story, not your identity. Recognize that trauma is an event you experienced, not who you are, right? This is kind of like the difference between shame and guilt, right? This happened to me. It's not who I am. Find meaning. Over time, some people find purpose or growth from their trauma, aka me doing the lifeboat. This is a perfect example. Often called post traumatic growth. Is that what the lifeboat is for me? Post traumatic growth? Possible. It's possible. Empowerment. Use your experience to build strength, compassion, or to help others. Now, this part is especially important and near and dear to my heart. If you find a modicum of success in recovery in doing what you're doing, share that with someone else, please. You don't have to, but it's quite rewarding, especially if you're still having moments where you struggle sometimes. This can reaffirm the lessons that we've all learned, right? This can remind us how far we've come and what we stand to lose. Also, you definitely, if you are going to help someone else, you want to be in a good place, right? You don't want to be in a vulnerable position. But I can't tell you how much sharing what I've learned and sharing what I've gained with others has done. Like, I can't even tell you. I can't tell you what it's done for me. It's wild. Final thoughts. Processing trauma effectively is a journey that requires courage, patience, and the right tools. I would also say, requires the right people around you. It's important to honor your timeline, aka perfect timing sometimes feels like I'm too late. It's important to honor your timeline, seek help when needed, and recognize your capacity for resilience and healing, right? You're never late, you're just on time. There's perfect timing sometimes feels like I'm too late. One of my favorite quotes. There's no time like the present. And be good to yourself. You deserve it. That's pretty much what I have for processing trauma, guys. What do you think? Did we hit the nail on the head? Kelly Ann, happy Stellar Saturday, everyone. Well, thank you for that. Grief sucks and is a beast to deal with, says Mocked. With even if you have experience and figured out the processing process already. I almost struggled with that processing process. Okay. Alrighty. No, I totally agree, Mocked. 20-year free of meth on January 2nd. Holy crap. You guys are killing it. You guys are killing it. Next week will be 5 years, 6 months alcohol free. Heck yeah, James. James? Heck yeah, dude. Thank you guys for being here, supporting me, and also, I hope that these words have resonated with all of you. I hope that it has been beneficial for all of you. Look at what I've been through, and I'm still here. That's darn right, Caitlin. That is darn right. We are still here. It reminds me of that scene in The Matrix. I don't know if it's the second one or the third one, but Morpheus is like in the cave talking to all the people, and he's like, "We are still here," and everyone's like, "Ah!" It's a great scene. And then they party the whole night away, and then there's that really out of place intimate scene with Trinity and Neo. I thought that scene was very out of place, but I mean, I guess their love is like kind of the centerpiece of the trilogy, so maybe it wasn't, but I'm just never a fan of those scenes. It's like I'm at the movie theater, guy. Come on. Like, really? Body keeps the score. That's true. By Bessel van der Kolk. Van der Kolk. I feel like I know this name. Interesting. Interesting. Right now we're listening to The Good Life by Gone Gone Beyond. I don't know where this song came from. It may have been from Spotify's suggestions. Yeah, I can't hit that note right now. Good life. I guess that was all right. Welcome to the good life. The good life. That's a good one. Anyways, I won't bore you with my sounds and noises, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. We're going to be eating rotten fish later. I've done a ton of research. I think it's actually rotten fish. They say fermented, but do we ferment meats? Is that a thing, right? I thought we fermented alcoholic beverages, and that was pretty much it. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but come check us out eating some surstroming later. I'm going to eat it the best. And I'm going to check out that Dax song. That's right. It's a fancy word for rotten. That's right, Caitlin. It's rotten. We're gonna get super duper rotten later. I hope you guys hang out while we do so. And it's Saturday, guys. Put your feet up, leave them there for a little while. You deserve it. You've worked hard this week. And shout out to all the mods, the crew members, anyone new. You guys are the best. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. This has been the Lifeboat with Captain Calhoun. Trauma Talk. We'll see you later. No painting today.